gonna get from this angle. Now, who are you, madam? Now, of course, you know, I'm still learning all the leopards on the property. There are a couple that I haven't seen, and I'm not sure who this is. The guy that was just in the sighting said that it was perhaps Tandy. I've never seen Tandy before, but we're just going to have to wait and see what's about to happen. And maybe you can help me, and if perhaps you know who this is, I'd absolutely love to know. And you can do so by hashtagging Safari Live on Twitter, or you can send us an email, questions@WildEarth.tv. But let's have a look. Come on, girl, lift your head up for us. Now, if it is Tandy, I'm going to be so excited. Like I said, I haven't seen her, and I've been absolutely dying to have a look at the second daughter of Karula. We've seen Shadow quite often. We saw her the other day with me, and then we saw her with Brent. And I don't know when last we've seen Tandy, so I hope that this is her. And if you're wondering what on earth she is doing that's preventing us from having a look, there we go. Who are you? Who are you? Now you can see that she's grooming herself so nicely. Wonderful. I've just got a little whisper in my ear from Louise, and she says that this is indeed Tandy. So if any of you had guessed right or passed on the comments that this was Tandy, thank you so much for all your help. But now I'm going to need a little bit more information. I'd like to know a little bit more about this beautiful leopard. And I'm sure one thing on your mind as we sit here looking at her grooming herself, you're probably wondering, where on earth is her cub? Now, the last thing that I heard, and I haven't really heard any new developments, so I could be behind. I have just been on a long holiday, is that unfortunately she lost her male cub and she was left with her daughter. Now, I'm not sure if her daughter is still around or if unfortunately she has lost her too. But like I said, if you've got any interesting information. Oh, sorry, Louise. I'm struggling to hear what you are saying to me. We're in a very difficult section. Oh, maybe it is. I know a couple of you are saying possibly it could be Shadow. Let's see. She's got 3 on the right side of her face. If she's got 4 on the left side. And with that pink nose is a giveaway. Let's see. Come on, girl. Let's see if you've got that 4 spots on the left-hand side of her face. Maybe it is Shadow. It wouldn't surprise me because we've been seeing her hanging around in this area. A couple of days ago, remember, Brent found her. And that was just a little bit north, though, closer to the boundary between Arathusa and Djuma. I think it could be her. I don't think Tandy's got a pink nose. I mean, that pink nose is very unique, and it doesn't look like a young leopard either. She looks slightly older. She's got a couple of tears in her ears, a couple of scars and things. Come on, girl, let's see the other side of her face. So that'll be exciting if it is Shadow. Maybe we'll be able to get a nice look at her. And then I'll have to update it on the radio as well. But having a good afternoon groom. And when she was found walking along the road. We must have just missed her. Brian and I were searching in this area, but we didn't check this road. But we checked another road, probably about 200 meters away from this beautiful girl. Hello, beautiful. I'm so happy to see a leopard this afternoon. There we go. Is another opportunity. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see that? 4 spots on the left-hand side of her face. So well done. That is, and you are all correct if you said that this is Shadow. And I always have to thank you. Thank you so much for always helping out and with the identification of leopards. For some reason, this is something that doesn't happen overnight. and it takes a bit of time and practice. But now this is the third time that I've seen Shadow, so hopefully the next time I won't mistake her. I think I was actually so exciting and hoping that it was going to be Thandi. And now I know I can't really comment on what she looks like just yet because she's sitting down and I can't see her tummy. So hopefully we'll have a look and see what her body is looking like. Maybe she is pregnant, because if she's got a full belly again, remember we saw her, I think it was almost a week ago, we saw her sitting on top of the termite mound, and she did look like she had a big belly, but she didn't stand up for us, which made it obviously quite difficult to really tell. And then we saw her with Brent, and she was bulging. And if that is the case again today, I think I'm going to agree and say that there are a couple of little cubs inside that belly of hers, but we'll have to wait to sort of really be able to answer that question. Hello, girl. Isn't this lovely, though? Never did I think on such a windy day would we be so lucky to see this beautiful leopardess. Any cats really in this horrible weather, with it being so windy. I thought that they would all be tucked away under some shrubs. Well, sort of like Shadow's doing at the moment. I don't think we would have seen her if she wasn't walking on the road. I think if she was tucked away like this, everybody would have just driven around until she got on the move again. Hey, girl, you're settling in for the day. We're actually also not too far from where we saw those vultures. As the crow flies, we're maybe a mile, if even that. So maybe she did catch something, and that's what the vultures were feeding off. Remember, I said it was in the drainage line. There were lots of tambuti trees and jackalberries growing up there, which made it quite difficult to have a look in there. So maybe she was there and abandoned whatever it was, or ate as much as she could, and well, then the vultures ate the rest. Now, I'd love to hear from all of you if anyone does have any questions. Well, like I said, I'm still waiting to hear some interesting little tips. You can hashtag Safari Live. You can do that. Sorry, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, and of course questions at WildEarthTV. Now, Mario, you said that these animals need name tags. Wouldn't that be wonderful? It would make our lives a lot easier, but of course it takes the fun out of it. But yes, that would be nice, especially when you first come into an area like this and you're trying to learn about the different individuals or predators, the leopards, the lions, the hyenas. And that's something I'm quite interested to see. So we've never really had a permanent, or everywhere else I've worked, there was never really a consistent den site for hyenas. So they'd come and go, they'd only be there for a little while, and then they would move off. And obviously that's because of the high density of leopards and lions that were in the southern sector at the time. The hyenas never stayed at their dens for too long. And I never got an opportunity to be able to sit and really look at the key identifying features of a hyena. Now, that's going to be an interesting one to learn, because I know that the hyenas are big characters. Hello, beautiful. There you go, looking at us. So I'm going to need a lot of help with that, and I've got my notebook armed and ready. So the next time that we see some, it'll be nice to hear a little bit about them. We did have one big hyena that hung around the lodge when we got to know, but that was really all. She had a bit of a limp, so she was easy to tell the difference between the others. Now she keeps looking around her. She's not sort of just grooming herself. And I suppose that's quite common with the leopards. When you see lions grooming themselves, they don't really pay attention. Sorry, just having a distorted message from Lou. Now, this is the problem out here in the wilderness. Oh, Thanks. Sorry, Louise. So I'm just getting the tail ends of Lou's messages as she sends them through. Remember, we are in Africa, of course, and, well, sometimes they have little dark holes out here, and the gremlins hop on, and it prevents us from communicating, sometimes with you, and sometimes, of course, with the lovely ladies in Final Control. Now, Emery, you were saying that it's very easy to identify shadow because of that pink nose, and you're quite right. I was so excited to see this leopard as we pulled into the sighting. I completely overlooked at such an obvious key identifying feature. Here she goes. Now we're going to have to keep up with her. And it's just us. There's nobody really coming to the sighting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around very quickly so we can keep up. Let's go. Not too thick just yet. We've got a little bit of an open clearing. Oh, there we go. That's quite nice. She stopped to pose beautifully out in the open. Ooh, so we can see she's got a bit of a bulge on her belly. What we'll do is let's go around. Sorry, I'm jumping around here because I want to catch up to her, and we're going to see if we can zoom in nicely to have a look and see if there are perhaps any suckle marks or anything that will give us an idea. Maybe even some swollen teats. Just to see perhaps, well, if she has got little cubs in the oven, or maybe she's already had some cubs. We'll find out now, hopefully. Whoops. Very bright. Up on this fallen log. This is amazing. Hello, girl. It's really not every day that you get to sort of be at the same level as a big cat. So when you see something like this, it's so special. And I wish you were all here with me on the back of the vehicle experiencing this. I'm just very quickly, while we're sitting here, going to update the sighting on the radio. I just need to work out where we are. Let's turn the volume up. Mobiles, Mufazi Ingwe, static. She's up on a termite mound. We are basically between Buffskull North and Southern Fork. You should get my visual from the Ndlela. It looks like it's shadow. It's just one unlock. Hello, girl. I love the way that she glances over at us occasionally. It almost feels like she's looking straight into the lens. And like I said, I just want to very quickly recap, because I know there's so many new people who are starting to watch the show, so welcome to all of you. So you probably heard me going on about the spot pattern on this leopard. Now, if you're wondering what a spot pattern is, it's something that we use to identify the various leopards. Now, I know some of you have heard this, and you know the spot patterns of the leopards better than I, but we always need to keep recapping and updating everybody who's just starting to watch for the first time, and it's always nice if you can give them a helping hand. So, if you've just started watching, we'll see if she keeps her head still, but you can see on the left side of her face, there's a row of very neat dots above, sort of in line with her nose. But then if you go down to just before her whiskers start, you should see that there are 4 little spots, one quite close to her nose, then another splotch to the right, and up above that is a 3rd spot, and then just down below that 3rd spot is a 4th spot. And then you look on the left, on the same place, you can see she's only got a row of 3 spots, and we put that into a ratio. So we read left from right, so she would have a spot pattern of 4, and then of course the ratio symbol, and then 3. So that's an easy way, but there's other ways that you can identify leopards. Like Ellen said, on the left hand side of her ear, her left, of course, she has a very neat V nicked out of it, and then of course something quite unusual, her pink nose. Normally at about 2.5 years old, that pink on their nose starts to fade away and it eventually turns to black. But I've also seen a pink nose on other leopards before, but sometimes it's when they get older. But I think Shadow is a special girl, and she's had this her entire life. And it seems as though she's not playing ball with us this afternoon, about showing us her mammary glands. But that's fine. That's what keeps it interesting. Is that what is she going to do next? Is she looking for something to eat? Has she had cubs? We can't see any. I didn't see any suckle marks. The very quick little slot we got, but maybe you managed to take a screenshot and got a better view of what I did. Maybe there were suckle marks. We'll just have to wait and see. And I'm sure you're all jumping for joy, though. This is very, very exciting. And it's a tough topic to talk about because we know that Shadow is not, unfortunately, not the best of the mothers. But that's just how it goes out in the wilderness. Is that it's like in humans as well. Everybody's got their talents, and it's just very unfortunate that Shadow doesn't seem to be very good at raising her offspring. But maybe this round, maybe this time we get lucky. Now, speaking about all these beautiful little cubs that, well, could potentially see, Roger, you were wondering what is the gestation period for a leopard? It's quite short, actually, and that's why usually with the big cats it comes as a surprise when one of these animals is pregnant. So the gestation period is about 3 months, not very long, and it's normally only in the last sort of couple of weeks that you start to see the real swelling of the mammary glands. Oh, what's flying in the distance? Are those storks? Sorry, I got... Oh, hello, woolly-necked storks. Off they go. That was quite nice, Brian. It was beautiful. The two of them flying around on this windy day. It must be quite difficult, of course. Isn't that nice? Just sitting here watching a leopard and then 2 woolly-necked storks fly by. That was fantastic. It's my butterfly syndrome, of course, jumping in. Only I could get distracted by birds as we're sitting and watching a beautiful leopard. So I do apologize, but here she is. She's back again. And we'll try and stay with her for as long as we can. It would be nice to follow her and see what she gets up to. The markings on her face is quite beautiful. No, what is it? So it almost looks like her eyes have been weeping just a little bit. You can see that in the corner of the eyes, which is normal. But the way that it's almost been rubbed, that dirt that's a sort of weeping, or the mucus and stuff that's weeping from the eye, when she looks away, it almost looks like she's got the tear marks of a cheetah, don't you think? Obviously you have to use your imagination when I say this. But those black markings come all the way down, almost to where her whiskers start. Now, thank you so much for sending in all your screenshots. They're beautiful, and I can't wait to have a look at them a little bit later. But we're going to head back now across to Brent. But don't worry, we're going to stick with Madam Shadow. Makes it home safely, though. I'm not too worried about Brent. I think he can fend for himself out in the wild. Oh, she's... So, a couple of branches sneaking in. Look how she's posed herself beautifully on this very old marula tree. Hi, girl. Oh, that is so beautiful. That is picture perfect. Look at how well they can balance. And of course, that's absolutely nothing compared to when they climb to the tops of the trees and balance on the thinnest of branches. Now, I suppose it is a good time for this leopard to be out, even though I said it is quite windy, and often we see the lions tucking themselves away, and some we see the leopards doing the same thing, but it's also good hunting weather. And remember, we saw those impala earlier, and we saw them running around, running away. This is what she wants. Ooh. Now we're doing a little bit of off-roading over some old logs. Now, as we drive along here, I apologize if I don't pay too much attention to you. I need to keep Brian safe and not let him get whacked by any more trees. One's enough, hey Brian?
Yeah,
one's enough. Luckily, Brian's a good sport about it. So James, you were saying that if Shadow hasn't given birth just yet, which I don't know if she has, I couldn't see any suckle marks. Sorry, I'm just checking the boundary again, that we don't go into Simbambili by mistake. Now, you said that, and I quite agree with your statement, is that if she does give birth, she's going to go elusive for a bit, which is quite true. And, well, we probably won't see her for a while. Now, I 100% agree with you. And it is nice that we got to see her today. I'm just double checking. Ooh, we're getting close to the boundary now. Hopefully she just carries on going a little bit further south, because if she carries on going west, it's going to get a bit tricky. And we may sadly lose her, but we'll try and stick to her to the very end. It's so close. Gee, Brian, did you see that? How good was that? That was skill driving there. Now, I better not say that and then get myself into some trouble. She's such a patient leopard. Oh, sorry, girl, I didn't mean to do that. Little stumpy over here. I don't know where to go, Brian. We have to go over this one. Up we go. All right. And just pass the branch back to Brian. Come on, where is a lovely herd of impala? Now, I'm of course going to root for the leopard in this case, and the reason being is that if Shadow does, oh, look at this, look at this. Oh my goodness, she's just jumped up onto the top of this, again, a fallen marula tree. That is the most perfect spot to have a look and see, well, if we're going to find anything. This is so beautiful. Now, I hope I hope you better all be taking screenshots. Because as common as it is, or as people think it is for leopards to climb trees, it's not often that you get them doing a pose like this. Now, of course, I wish we were on the other side, but maybe she glances back towards us and gives you all an opportunity. This is lovely. Must be quite daunting as we're going up a fallen tree like this marula, and it looks old. It looks like it's almost completely rotten. The termites have been hard at work. So I'd be nervous to go on a branch that's higher up than that, as I think it might snap with the weight of her. Not that she's particularly heavy. She's not a massive leopard. Medium size or average size for a female, I think. So she probably weighs about anywhere between maybe 50 and 60 kilograms. So what's that? About 120 pounds or so? Somewhere around there. But look how gracefully she came down. Should we have a little zoom and see if we can see any suckle marks? Oof. Now, it was so difficult there to try and have a look if she's got suckle marks. She seems to be quite fluffed up, maybe because of the change in temperature. It's hot, it's cold 1 minute, and then it changes again. So it's very, very difficult to see have a look at the mammary glands. Just watch out here, Brian, as we just tuck through this tree. Off she goes. Now, Roger, you were wondering if leopards, and female leopards of course, will chase away their young before or after they've had a new set of cubs. Now, it's actually quite interesting. I've seen both things. So I've seen it before where a leopard had sort of told her older daughter to keep, to sort of move on. But she had new cubs, and I saw quite a bit of interaction between her and her two cubs, her new cubs, and then the older daughter from her previous litter. Okay, so she sat down. Let's try go around. And then I've also seen it We're like what Karula's doing now, mating with Tingana, but she's got 2 cubs that are 10 months old. I've seen the same thing with another leopard down in the south, same thing. At about 10 months, she dropped her little one, young male, and said, right, cheerio, off you go, and she left him. She didn't want to have anything to do with him, and he lived. He survived. Here we go, a nice open gap. Now, sorry, I can just hear the radio going. I just want to update the sighting once again, and then I'll get back to this conversation. Just want to make sure that in case there is anybody wanting to come here. The mobiles, there's still one mobile unlock with Shadow. We are just sort of south of Shigodi Pan. Here we go. Update done. To let all the other rangers know what's going on. But we're spoiled. It's just us here. Nobody else. But maybe they... Oh, that's where they are. I forgot to tell you. I forgot to mention the update about the lions, about the Nkuhumas. They are very happily, and it seems as though the whole pride is together on Simbambili, but quite close to the boundary of Arathusa. So they might come back, hopefully by tomorrow. But it sounded like they were on a buffalo kill. Unfortunately, I didn't get the update or not, whether they were, if it was a big buffalo, if it was a calf, how much they'd eaten. I didn't hear that. So we'll just have to keep coming back to Arathusa and checking and having a look. And, well, it's paying off over the last few days. Oh, no. That obviously means I must stop. Hey, Brian. And that one. Oh my goodness. I'm getting myself wedged between a rock and a hard place at the moment. So before I get myself into any more trouble, let's go back across to James, who's got the sweetest little thing out in the bush at the moment. She doesn't look like she's going anywhere for the moment. She came up onto the termite mound and, well, she turned around and plonked herself back down. And I think she's got a very good spot. I think the angle that the wind is coming from, we're sitting downwind of Shadow, I think that hump on the termite mound is blocking it out. So she's probably having a lovely peaceful sleep, and also, I'm sure, enjoying the nice cool evening that we are having today. And it's lovely. We probably won't stay here for too much longer. There are a couple of other guards that are probably going to come into the sighting. So we will most likely give them an opportunity, but in the next couple of minutes we don't have to race on out. And hopefully she doesn't just rest here. Hopefully she's had her nap now for the last couple of minutes. And I haven't seen anything coming closer. I've been scanning around, looking to see if there's any of the big herds of impala, which we've been seeing throughout the day, or any common duiker or steenbok. But it seems as though there's nothing at the moment. So Shadow, my dear, I think you're going to have to head into sort of thicker vegetation in order to find a snack, because out here it looks a bit miserable and not really anything for you. She's got a perfect pillow too. There's a perfect hump on the termite mound that just fits the shape of her head quite nicely. That looks very cozy. And no chorus tonight. No birds that were shouting away. Oh, no, as I say that, I can hear the babblers shouting in the distance. They're the only ones that are saying goodnight. The rest of the birds, I think, took the day off and went into their hidey holes a little bit earlier, which I don't blame them for. Fast asleep. Not a worry in the world at the moment. But still listening. I love the way that those ears sort of twitch. And I think that's an unbelievable talent to have. Imagine if you could just sort of sleep and, well, listen to everything. And I know you get different people Some are light sleepers, some are heavy sleepers. I used to be a light sleeper. I used to be a little bit like a leopard and a lion, I suppose. I'd hear the door creak from down the passage, or I'd hear somebody go to get some water in the middle of the evening and open up the refrigerator, and I'd wake up to those types of sounds. But as I've gotten older, not that I'm very old, I always say this, and people turn and look at me and they say, Taya, you're 24 years old, what are you talking about? And I suppose, well, everybody gives me grief about being so little, but I'll get big one day. And now, well, now I don't hear too much at all, actually. The occasional elephant that's breaking the branches outside my window, we hear that. Or when VM's shelf collapses on itself, the whole of camp hears that. But it's nice not to hear all the creaks in the night. Otherwise, can you imagine? You just never get any sleep out here. Imagine waking up every time a lion roared. Out here, when the nkahuma's on the property, you'd be waking up every half an hour. You'd never sleep. Or an owl hooting, anything really. The hyenas whooping. Of course, or the soaring sound of a leopard, because they come quite close to the camp too. So I'm glad that my sleeping patterns have changed slightly and I'm not such a light sleeper. But I think we're going to have to say goodbye to Shadow now and give everybody else a turn to have a look at her. They've been so kind to us. No one has been here for the entire time. And I suppose on their way back before the safari ends, wouldn't it be nice? And I'm sure if you were all out here on safari, you would love a special treat of having a dose of a leopard just before you went back for dinner. Bye-bye, girl. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I hope you catch something tonight after your slumber. But I think let's get rolling. Let's head out. Right. Thank you so much, Shadow. It was beautiful. I'm so glad we got to see a cat. We're going to, well, while I try and make my way out of this tricky patch, let's go back across to James.